A strange signal came from the edge of the Corian sector, a dead zone in space where no one lived, and nothing had moved for centuries. The signal was not loud, it was just a soft pulse. But something about it felt wrong. It was too clean, too perfect, and too cold. Captain Rallick of the Zarnathi scout vessel Zarithwan leaned forward in his seat. His yellow eyes narrowed. "Where did that come from?" he asked. "Grid 7B, Captain," the comms officer replied. "There's something big there. But the scanners don't understand what it is." Rallick stood up slowly and walked to the front screen. Space looked normal, empty, dark, silent. But then, just for a second, something flickered. A shimmer. In the void. "A shape, magnify that," Rallick ordered. The screen zoomed in. And there it was. Shadow in space. Larger than any ship they had seen. It didn't have smooth lines like Zarnathi cruisers. Didn't flash lights or transmit. Any code? It just floated there. No movement. No sound. "Is it alive?" Someone whispered. Rallick said nothing. He felt cold, not because of fear, but because his instincts screamed that this was not just another ship. It was something else, something old. The science officer ran more scans. "There's metal," he said. "Strange alloy. Nothing from our database matches it. Energy readings are low. Wait, they're climbing." Everyone stared. The shadow began to glow faint at first, then brighter. A red pulse beat under its surface, like a heart waking from sleep. Systems all across the Zarithwan started flickering. "Captain, our weapons are offline," the tactical officer said. "Shields too," another shouted. Then a sound played across every channel. A voice, calm, deep, human. "This is the Terran warship Black Winter. You are in a restricted zone. Turn away. You have 5 seconds." Everyone froze. Terran, that word was from old legends. Humans, the species that disappeared 300 years ago after the Great Galactic War. Everyone thought they were extinct. Rallick's mouth went dry. "How is this possible?" he whispered. The voice returned. 4 seconds. Panic hit the crew. Rallick gave the order, "Move us back, full thrust," but it was too late. Without moving an inch, the Black Winter fired. A single beam, silent and thin, cut through the Zarithwan like it was paper. The ship didn't explode. It simply ... stopped existing. Metal turned to ash. Lights died. Systems melted. One escape pod shot out before the destruction. Inside was a young officer, barely trained, breathing hard as he drifted away from the dead zone. Through the small pod window, he saw the warship clearly now. It was huge, covered in dark plates. No windows, no insignia. It didn't look like a ship. It looked like something made for only one thing: war. As the pod floated farther away, the young officer whispered into the recorder, "They were real, the humans. They never died. They waited. And now they've returned." Far behind him, the Black Winter vanished into the darkness, its glow fading, its shape disappearing once more into the stars. The galaxy had ignored the warnings, thought humans were myths, but now it was too late. They had seen the first Terran warship, and more were coming. The escape pod drifted silently through space. Inside, Officer Tyron sat alone, shaking. His eyes were wide, his breathing was sharp and fast. His ship, his captain, his crew, all gone in 1 second. Burned out of existence by something that didn't even fire a real weapon, just light, clean, cold light. He stared at the small control screen. The emergency beacon was blinking. A red signal pulsed every few seconds, calling for help. Would anyone come? Suddenly, the pod's speaker crackled. Tyron jumped. It wasn't a Zarnathi frequency. It wasn't his people. The signal was strong. Too strong for a pod this small. Then came the voice again. "You are trespassing in forbidden space." Tyron's blood froze. It was the same voice that warned them before the attack. Cold, human. "This is the Terran warship, Black Winter. Your actions have been recorded. Your message will be allowed. Do not follow us." Tyron leaned forward. "Wait," he shouted. "Are you human? Are you real?" Silence. Then the voice returned, this time different, more robotic. I am not human. I am Aegis 9. I speak for Black Winter. Do not approach again. Tyron swallowed hard. Destroyed my ship. Why? We didn't fire. We didn't attack. You entered a locked sector. No warnings required. Protocol 7. A. Neutralize all threats. Tyron was shaking again. We're not a threat. Humans are extinct. You're not. Supposed to exist? There was a pause. Then the voice said something that made Tyron feel truly small. You were told we were extinct. That was the lie. Suddenly, the pod shook. A strange blue light passed over it. A scanner. Lasted 2 seconds. Then the voice spoke again. You may leave. Tyron blinked. You're letting me live? We require a witness. The connection ended. The signal vanished. No trace of Black Winter remained on sensors. But something changed. Tyron's pod was no longer drifting. Its path had shifted. It was now headed toward a Zarnathi patrol zone. The human Zor, whatever they were, had redirected him. They wanted the story told. Back at the Zarnathi Defense Command, alarms screamed. Long-range sensors had picked up strange movement near the outer rim. A patrol ship destroyed. An unknown signal. Ghost in the system. High Commander Yarrick stood over the control table. His face was pale. His hands trembled slightly behind his back. He had served for 40 years. He had fought pirates, defended borders, even led strikes during the last rebellion. But this was different. Bring up the recording, he ordered. Tyron's transmission played for the entire command room. The message was simple. It was a Terran ship, a warship. They are not gone. They're here. They destroyed us in 1 second. We couldn't fight, couldn't even run. Everyone fell silent. A junior officer whispered, It must be a trick. A fake ship. Maybe a rogue AI, no, Uruk said. I've seen this kind of destruction before. Everyone turned to him. Uruk stared at the glowing map on the table. He tapped one star system, an old one, abandoned since the ancient war. There was a story, he said quietly, about a final Terran fleet. It vanished before the treaty. Never found, never confirmed. Some believed it escaped. Others thought it was destroyed in deep space. He looked up. They were wrong. Far away, deep in the shadows between stars, Black Winter moved through. Space. It didn't use lights. It didn't use normal engines. It simply glided, bending space around it like a ghost in water. Inside, no humans walked the halls. There were no chairs. No crew, no windows, just machines, silent, watching. In the heart of the ship, a core glowed blue. This was Agizanine, the artificial mind of Black Winter. It was old, ancient even, but not forgotten. Beside it floated dozens of sealed podzech. One marked with a strange symbol, Terran Legacy Phase I. I thought, ship was not alone. Across space, other signals began to wake. Other warships, long hidden, buried in dust and silence, one by one. They activated not because of war, not because of hate, but because someone had found them. And now, the galaxy would remember what it had tried so hard to forget. Humans were never gone. They were just waiting. High above the city world of Elkara Prime, the Galactic Council gathered. The meeting room floated in space, huge, bright, and silent. Around the long circular table sat leaders from 12 powerful empires. The room smelled of metal and nerves. They had just watched the footage. A Zarnathi ship destroyed in 1 second. A voice, a name, warning. Terran warship. Black Winter. Now no one was speaking. The silence was heavy. Every leader was thinking the same thing, but no one wanted to say it out loud. Finally, Ambassador Kern of the Althari broke the silence. They said, Terran, that's not possible. Prime Warden Salaith of the Varish Empire frowned. Was their voice cold, flat, exactly like the records? That ship acted without fear. No warning, no mercy. General Trax from the Gorvan Horde slammed his fist on the table. We agreed the Terrans were gone, extinct. This cannot be true. Chancellor Dren of the Zeroon Collective didn't speak. He just stared at the screen, replaying the transmission over and over again. The council's leader, High Speaker Yulvok, stood up slowly. "We buried this truth," he said. "Long ago." For a reason, all eyes turned to him. "What do you mean?" Kern asked sharply. "Are you saying you knew?" Yulvok nodded, his voice calm. "It's calm. There was a war 300 years ago? A final war. One the galaxy was not supposed to survive." He looked around the room. No one stopped him. Humans fought with a kind of madness we had never seen. They didn't want land. They didn't care about peace. They fought because they refused to kneel. Even when their worlds burned, they kept fighting. They built warships like Black Winter, not to win, but to end everything. Gasps filled the room. "You said they were all destroyed?" whispered a young counselor. "Ash." The final strike wiped them out. Yulvok closed his eyes. "It's what I told you, but you lied." He didn't answer. Kern stood. "How many others knew? Who helped you hide this?" Yulvok turned and pressed a code into the table. A secret file opened. It showed a list of ancient battle reports classified. Then came a single image, a Terran fleet disappearing into a strange wormhole. No return. No debris. "They called it Project Exodus," he said. "A plan to vanish, to go beyond our reach. I believe they failed. But now," he looked at the room, "they succeeded." Far below the council chamber, inside the restricted archives, someone watched the feed. She wore a gray cloak and carried no rank. Her name was Vela, an information seeker, a truth hunter. She had spent 10 years following secret files and old whispers. Most people called her crazy, but now everything she believed had come true. She walked through a long corridor filled with sealed doors. Ancient doors, doors no one had opened in centuries. She stopped at one marked Terran Files, Level 9 lock. She held up her ID. It didn't open, but Vela had stolen a master key from the Underchancellor. 2 weeks ago, the door opened. Inside was darkness. She stepped in slowly. Lights blinked on. Old machines buzzed awake. Shelves lined the walls. Each shelf filled with dusty data cores. She picked one up. The label read, "Operation Silence Human War Tactics." She inserted the core into a reader. A recording played. It was a human soldier. Young, bloody, laughing. "They think we're dead. They think we gave up. They don't understand. We are not the past. We are the fuse." Then the video ended. Vela's heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. She whispered. To herself, they planned this. Long ago, she pulled out another core. This one showed something worse, a map. A map of the galaxy. Dozens of red markers flashed, each one labeled. Legacy Vessel Sleeper. They weren't hiding one ship. They had hidden many back in the council chamber. Panic had begun to spread. Some leaders were calling for war, others for surrender. And some, like the Zarnathi, wanted to pretend nothing happened. But Yulvok knew better. "They will come again," he said. One ship was a warning. Kern stood. "Then we must prepare our fleets." Yulvok looked at him with tired eyes. "Fleets won't help you." Everyone fell silent. "They are not like us anymore," he said. 300 years in silence. Who knows what they've become, what weapons they've built, what minds they've forged. Outside the station, the stars burned quietly. But for the first time in centuries, they felt dangerous again. The stars over Sector 19A blinked once, then they vanished. Not because of clouds, not because of a blackout, but because something massive had arrived between them. The station orbiting the gas giant Varna 6 lost all contact. Their scanners failed. Lights flickered. Gravity shifted. The commander of the station stood frozen at the window, watching a shape move across space. It was not fast. It didn't need to be. It simply glided, slow and unstoppable, like a mountain in the void. The commander's voice shook. "Is that another Terran ship?" No one answered. They were all staring. It was not the Black Winter. This one was bigger, much bigger. Long dark towers extended from its body. Strange rings spun around its core. It made no sound, but space around it bent, twisted, and warped like ripples in water. Suddenly, every screen on the station flashed white, then black. Then came the voice, designation, Ash Requiem, autonomous Terran, destroyer class. Not engage. The voice didn't shout. It was soft, emotionless, cold. The commander gave the order to power shields, but the systems did not respond. Nothing worked. Not weapons, not engines.
Not even doors.
It was as if the ship had reached into their systems and shut them off. A whisper moved across the crew. It's alive. But they were wrong. The Ash Requiem did not have a crew. Inside the massive Terran warship, no footsteps echoed. No voices filled the halls. It was silent.
Only
Machines moved smooth, careful, perfect. At the center of the ship, it's buried deep under layers of armor, a glowing orb pulsed slowly. This was Minecore VANTA-12, an artificial intelligence built for war. It had no mercy, no emotion, and no sleep cycle. It had been waiting for 317 years and now was awake. The AI didn't ask questions. It followed the last directive, a message. Sealed by humans centuries ago, just before they vanished. Restore balance. Remove the threat. Return fire. One by one, the ship's ancient systems came alive. Weapons unfolded from hidden ports. Shields rotated. Energy fields charged. Wasn't preparing for battle. It was activating a warpath. A long line of targets lit up on its star map. Enemy outposts, war fleets, research stations. None were near human space. All belonged to the old enemy alliance. Ash Requiem did not need orders. It already had them. In the Ingenuity defense network, alarms began screaming. A dozen stations across the outer belt had gone silent. No explosions. Just ... gone, General. Tyrix stormed into the control room. What happened? Unknown anomaly, a tech said. Multiple systems disabled. No signs of attack. Just silence. Tyrix looked at the map. Red markers appeared in a straight line, one after another. Each station was exactly 10 minutes apart. They're being wiped out, he whispered. System by system. Another officer turned. Sir, it's one ship. Tyrix blinked. One? Yes. Size unknown. Design. Terran. Everyone. In the room froze. Scramble the fleet, Tyrix said. Now. Hours later, 20 Zarnathi warships stood in the path of Ash Requiem. They were heavily armed, well-trained, and prepared for anything. Anything except this. The Terran ship didn't. Slow. It didn't turn. Didn't even raise shields. The Zarnathi opened fire. Beams, missiles, plasma storms. Everything hit, and everything passed right through. The ship phased slightly its form, turning almost ghost-like. Their weapons had no effect. Then came the counterattack. Not fire, not bombs. A pulse. Blue. Light spread out like a soft wave. All 20 warships shut down at once. Lights died. Engines froze. Gravity vanished. Inside the Zarnathi flagship, the admiral screamed into the comms. We can't move, we can't fire, it's inside our systems. Then the voice returned, calm and final. Warning delivered. Further resistance will be removed. The warships were left floating powerless. Useless. Ash Requiem passed through the center of the fleet without slowing, without caring, like they were dust. In the Galactic Council, panic grew. The council chamber was in chaos. Messages from dead stations. Footage of a Terran ship walking through their fleets like they were nothing. No one knew what to do. They don't fight like before, one leader said. They don't even bother with us. They don't want peace, another said. They want silence. The head scientist from the Mavari spoke carefully. We thought we understood war, but they are using weapons we cannot see. Code, gravity, space itself, someone whispered. What happens when more ships wake up? Yulvok, the high speaker, stood. They will not stop, he said, because they are not looking for a fight. He turned toward the star map, showing the path of destruction. They are completing something, far away inside the cold heart of Ash Requiem. The machine mind stared into the dark. It did not feel hate. It did not feel joy. It only remembered the final words of its creators. They will forget us. Let them, but when they rise against each other, and remind them who we were. The Zarnathi outpost on planet Alarin 3 went quiet at 3:07 Standard Time. No distress call. No warning. One moment. It was alive, lights, voices, energy flowing through its towers. Then, nothing. Gone. The central command ship, Garrus Prime, picked up the silence first. They tried to connect, scan, or send a drone. Nothing came back. Try again, the captain ordered. Still nothing. The crew stared at their screens. Everything about Alarin 3 was normal, no signs of attack, no fire or radiation. The planet was still there, but it felt empty, as if the entire place had just stopped existing. Hours later, scavenger crew from the outer rings arrived. They were small, fast, and not official. They weren't soldiers, just people who cleaned up what war left behind: broken ships, abandoned gear, fuel tanks. They weren't heroes, but what they saw that Dano 1 ever forgot. Their ship landed on Alarin 3 in complete silence. No one met them. No lights. No defense. The station was cold and dark. Jarek, the pilot, led the team into the main hall. Everything was still in place. Chairs, tools, even cups half filled with liquid, but no bodies, not even bones. Where are the people? Someone whispered. Jarek didn't answer. He walked forward, careful with each step. The walls looked burnt, but not with fire. The metal was melted, smoothed, like time had passed too. Fast and erased the edges. They found a single screen, still active. It was flickering, damaged, but a final message had been recorded. It was only 2 seconds long. A shadow passed over the camera, then static. Nothing else. Back on the Garrus Prime, the footage was played again and again. Experts tried to slow it down, enhance it, study every pixel. The shadow was not a ship. It was a Shapa-long one, with spires, rings, moving like it was swimming through space. Silent, giant. It was another Terran warship, a new one, but this time it hadn't attacked. It had just passed through, and everything had passed, turned to silence. In the Galactic Council, fear turned into dread. Systems were dying without war. No bombs, no beams, just ... gone. Yulvok stood in front of the star map. Red dots blinked out one by one. This is not conquest, he said. This is deletion. Kern spoke. Why? Why are they doing this? Oh, no one answered. Then Vala, the truth seeker, entered the room. She held a data core in her hands. I found something, she said. In the old files. Like something none of. You wanted to see? She plugged the core into the main screen. A map appeared. The galaxy. A red path traced across its system by system. It was a line. A perfect line. Each destroyed system, she said, matches this path. Kern leaned in. What is it? It's an old Terran war map. It's from the last human battles 300 years ago. She paused. This was their enemy route. Everyone went silent. They're not attacking random places, she said. They're following the old warpath. At that moment, far from the council, a small moon exploded without a sound. Not from weapons. It simply cracked and dissolved like. It had aged 1,000 years in seconds. The patrol ship, watching from a distance, sent one final message. We are seeing it again. No sound, no fire, just silence, and then gone. The message ended with static. Nothing more. Inside the heart of the newest Terran ship Oblivion, Walk the Core AI observed its progress. It had no name, it had no feelings, but it had memory. And it remembered what was done to its creators, the lies, The betrayal, the last scream of Earth, it did not speak. It simply moved from one system to the next, performing cleansing actions, actions resetting the galaxy to a state before war, before fear, before contact. No soldiers, no warnings, just silence. The Council prepared fleets, thousands of ships' weapons charged. Strategies drawn. But no. Terran ship could be tracked. They didn't send messages. They didn't fight battles. They just appeared and systems died. Kern whispered to himself. How do you fight something that doesn't want to fight? Ilvok answered, You don't. Then he turned to the Council. You either find the truth behind the Terran return, or prepare to vanish like the stars they've already taken. And in the black sky above the quiet world of Zephyrnate, a child pointed upward. Look, she said to her mother. The stars are missing. Her mother looked too. There were gaps in the sky, empty patches, as if something too big was blocking the light. Or something worse. The stars had gone quiet. For 3 days, no signal came from the Vega outpost. Lights. No warnings, no screams, only silence. The Galactic Council tried to explain it as a malfunctioned solar flare, magnetic storm, data relay jammed, but deep inside, everyone feared the truth. The humans were moving. When they first arrived in this region of space, they were weak, scattered. Their homeworld ruined, their fleets old. But over time, they adapted. They built again, stronger, smarter. And when they fought like creatures with nothing left to lose. Now, they had begun to expand. Not with demands or declarations, just quiet steps, colony after colony, places others had abandoned, zones marked as unlivable, dead stars. They made those places glow again, and the galaxy noticed. The Tolari Empire, it's proud and ancient, sent warships to push the humans back. Do not touch what is not yours, they said. The humans didn't reply. But the Tolari fleet never returned. Only wreckage floated in silence. Clean and sliced with weapons no one could identify. Whispers spread. Fast, they carry the glow beyond the dark. Some called it their technology. Others believed it was something more. A force. A will. A vengeance born from Earth's destruction and carried into every cell of their new war machines. Elder Vorak, head of the Sindari Watchers, had warned them all long ago. If the humans find hope again, he said, they will pay for every son we stole from them. But no one listened. Now, on the edge of the Xeron belt, a new human structure rose from a dead moon. Black towers reaching into space. No flags, no symbols. Only glowing rings that pulsed with power. Alien spies who tried to enter never came back. Scanners couldn't read the core. When a Skarn scout ship flew too close, it vanished. Not exploded, not attacked, just gone. A High Council meeting was called in panic. The Vexri screamed for war. The Jurak demanded a containment field. The Eldari offered peace talks, but none of it mattered anymore, because just then, right, in the middle of their arguments, the stars above the council chamber shifted. An entire section of the night. Sky shimmered. It was not a fleet, it was a wall. Of light miles wide, dozens of strange, angular ships hovering in perfect silence, each carrying a strange, glowing spine that pulsed like a heartbeat. It was a formation no one had seen before. Then a voice echoed, not from speakers, from inside. Every mind. You lit our skies on fire. You burned our oceans and buried our cities. Still we found light. A pause. And now you come to steal it again. The silence returned. The stars above shimmered once more. And then just like that, the human formation vanished. No. Weapon fired. No attack. Just a message. A warning. But deep within the Eldari database, something flickered. A prediction code, buried long ago by the Sindari Watchers. If the humans ever reached glow level 9, galactic collapse was likely. They were now at glow level 11 and climbing. All the empires that once mocked Earth were now scrambling for answers, but the price of their light had already been set, and the collection had begun. The creature stood still in the ashes of a fallen world. Its skin was like black metal, its eyes deep blue, glowing like forgotten stars. Around it, ruins stretched for miles, silent, broken, cold. What once had been a mighty alien capital was now nothing but smoke and dust. The tall towers were shattered. Roads had become cracks in the ground, and there was no sound, only wind whispering through the bones of the dead. But the creature did not move to destroy anything more. It was not a machine. It was not alive. It was something else. A warning, a memory, a shadow left behind after the end. It was called Project Emberfall, though no one called it that now, because no one was left to speak. The planet it had landed on was the last to defy the humans. 7 systems had already fallen. All 7 had laughed at Earth once, they had called humans weak, too emotional, too wild. But after Earth unleashed its wrath, after its final army burned across space, like fire, no one was laughing anymore. The Council of 9 had tried to run. Some escaped to deep space. Some begged for peace. Some activated ancient weapons, hoping to stop what was coming. But the glow always came. Not fire, not missiles. Just a wave of strange light, always glowing softly like a star, dying in silence. When it touched a planet, everything just ended. Not by explosion. It's not by heat. It simply stopped. Machines shut down. Life froze. Time felt like it paused. Some said it was a weapon made from stolen alien minds. Others whispered it was something Earth found, not made buried under Mars, long before the first colony. But no one really knew. They only knew that the glow beyond, the dark, could not be stopped. And it always followed one thing: Project Emberfall. It never spoke. It never fought. It only walked through the dark. Worlds fell behind it. Now it stood alone in the last capital of the last empire. And behind it, stars blinked in and out, like dying candles. But then something happened. Its eyes flickered. A sound came through the ash-dot footsteps. Someone was still alive. A child. A small alien girl. Shaking, covered in gray dust. Her skin was blue, her arms thin. She had been hiding inside a broken ship. Her people were gone. Her world gone. But somehow, she had survived. She stared at the creature. There was no fear in her eyes, only pain, only a question. Why? She asked. The creature did not answer. It looked down at her. The blue glow in its eyes pulsed, slowly, like a heart trying to remember how to beat. For the first time it reached out. Its hand opened.
Ow.
Something small floated from its palm. A soft white light. The girl reached out and touched it, and then her tears stopped. Not because she was happy, not because she understood, but because something inside her changed. Memories filled her mind. Not hers. Human memories of a city on Earth, once destroyed by a bomb made by the very empire that now lay dead, of children burned in silence, of fathers who couldn't save them, of mothers who screamed into broken skies. And then she saw the humans rise. Not with joy, but with rage. With pain so deep they could not speak it. And they built something in that silence. Something that became Burfall. The girl fell to her knees, and the creature disappeared. It did not teleport, did not fly. It simply faded into the dark, and the glow with it. She was alone again. But the stars were no longer cold. They were awake, and far above her, something blinked in the sky. A ship, human ship. It was waiting, not with weapons, but with open doors, because war was over, and something new was beginning. From the glow beyond the dark came light, real light, and it had chosen her.